You are being lied to about Bitcoin's new all-time high. That's the million-dollar question. When is Bitcoin going to have a new all-time high? There's all sorts of theories out there and guesses. Oh, it could be this, it could be this. But let me lay down the facts. Here are the facts that nobody really pays attention to. Take a look. When we broke out of phase 2 back in 2012, it was within about 50 days that we reached a new all-time high. It was quick as soon as we broke out of this phase 2. Fast forward, 2016, we were in phase 2 here. As soon as we broke out of it, guess what? It was fast. Within about 50 days, a new all-time high. Guess what? Our next cycle, 2019, as soon as we broke out of phase 2 here, it was fast. About 50 days, reaching a new all-time high. However, one huge wrench in the system is that Bitcoin in 2012, it reached an all-time high after the halving, not before. 2016, it reached a new all-time high after the halving, not before. 2020, it reached a new all-time high after the halving, not before. We have not had the halving yet, and a lot of people are saying new all-time high right around the corner. But we have a huge wrench in the system that I'm going to break down with all of the facts you need. Let's get into it. If you're new here, welcome in. My name is Steve. On this channel, we don't take any paid ads, no paid sponsorships, no paid affiliate links down below. Instead, we offer cold, hard facts that actually help people. The only thing I ask in return is that you hit the subscribe button and put a thumbs up on this video. Now let's jump into it. We're on the 2-week chart, Bitcoin US dollar index, and we have the beautiful phases laid out in front of you, with phase 1 lasting about 200 days in 2012, with phase 1 lasting 200 days in 2016. 2019, you know, we had the combination of phase 1 and 2. 2023, about 200 days of phase 1. Now phase 1, it has one distinct goal. Phase 1 is to build and confirm our market structure from our prior resistance of the bottom of the market. So you see the bottom of the market here, that holds our support during phase 1. Same thing in 2016. Phase 1 was built directly on top of our prior resistance of the bottom of the market. So structurally, we're building that first stair, right? You take your step on the first stair and you build that stair directly on top of that first stair. That's phase 1, directly on top of our prior resistance. Same in 2019, phase 1, directly on top. Look at this beautiful structure here, this beautiful resistance here. We built phase 1 directly on top of that. And then again in 2023, we had the bottom of our market, heavy resistance here. We built phase 1 directly on top. Now we get into phase 2, which is the star of the show today. Phase 2 builds structure directly on top of phase 1. We're building that other stair, our third stair, right? We had the bottom of the market, phase 1. Phase 1 has a very strategic resistance here, and phase 2 builds structure directly on top of that resistance. It did so in 2012. 2016, phase 2 lasted almost 200 days, just like 2012. And just like 2012, we built structure directly on top of phase 1. So we were heading into this, looking at it and saying, hey, we built phase 1 just like 2016, just like 2012. It was directly on top of our market structure. It was a thing of beauty, right? And it lasted 200 days, just like 2016 lasted 200 days, just like 2012 lasted 200 days. And we got into phase 2, right? We announced that we were moving into phase 2 with this candle back in October of 2023. That candle literally brought us into phase 2, and we started building our structure on top. So what we looked for in phase 2 is a potential retest of that structure. February is a month for you to make money. I'm dropping a huge trade alert, completely free, takes 3 seconds to sign up. Go to cryptocrewuniversity.com. Again, that's cryptocrewuniversity.com. Put in your name and email, and boom, you have this huge trade alert completely free. Here's the cool part. You will never guess what this alert is. It's gonna surprise you. Don't miss out. Go to cryptocrewuniversity.com right now. Now, the majority of the time, 66% of the time, it happened inside of phase 2. 33% of the time, it happened like it did here. 2 years later at the next market bottom was when we finally retested our structure, which is why this was a really short-lived rally. We did not retest our structure. That's very unhealthy. Okay, so repeatedly in videos, we said, look, we're in phase 2. It's likely we retest our bottom inside of phase 2, likely because 66% of the time we did. Or worst case scenario, we retest it 2 years from now, which is what we did here. So the scenario was it's going to retest in the next 100-ish days or in 2 years from now at our next market bottom. We put it in many, many videos to make sure everybody knows. Roll the clip. Potential to come down and retest this market structure either in the next 100-ish days or 2 years from now at our market bottom. We're going to come back down and retest this base now within the next 100 to 150 days, or we're going to do it 2 years from now at our next market cycle bottom. So right there is very precise, okay? It's either going to happen inside of phase 2 in the next 100 days or in 2 years from now. And that will tell us the strength of the bull, okay? The strength of the bull is so important. But this is where things start getting heated up, because once we break out of phase 2, that's where we reach a new all-time high fast. And that's what usually shocks the market, right? The market is not ready for it. So we have to go over our rules, because you look at how fast we reached an all-time high. Inside of phase 2, retesting our structure, building structure. Here's our breakout of phase 2, and reached an all-time high quickly, very, very quickly. 2016, same thing. Inside of phase 2, a break above here, we reached a new all-time high quickly. These were rapid moves to an all-time high. 2019, no different. Our market resistance was here. As soon as we broke out of it, it was quick. Now, the longevity of that move, it's depending on whether we retest structure. These two, we retested structure. So we had a long bull run from here and a very healthy one. Long bull run from here and a very healthy one. Very long. Here, very short. Why? We didn't retest our structure. Plain and simple. Tilt your phone to the side and subscribe. Now we're in phase 2. Our structure is here, as we said. It's around 31, 30, 31, 32, right? And we told you about 35 would be a strategic place to buy either in this phase or 2 years from now at our market bottom. Right? Now, if you want a healthy bull run, we need to retest the structure right now inside of phase 2. If you want an unhealthy, short-lived, we can do one of these jobs, right? So it's going to come quick once we break out of this. But the key is that we pointed out in the beginning is if you look at when the halving is coming up, right, in April. The halving is coming up in April. The problem is we've never reached a new all-time high before halving. 2012, no new all-time high before halving. It was shortly after this that we broke above and reached a new all-time high. The key is when we break above phase 2. Again, 2016, we had the halving in phase 2. Just every single time we had the halving was in phase 2. Phase 2 here, phase 2 here, and this is the latter part. This is phase 1 and phase 2 combined, so we can technically call this phase 2. Happened in the same thing. We are on schedule to have the halving in phase 2. The only problem is a lot of people are looking at a new all-time high like tomorrow or next week or coming really soon. And if you look at it, what would need to happen is that we would have to break above here, this phase 2 box, which we haven't done yet. And in the previous video, we already showed you that we had this 6.6 above here, 6.6 above here. If we get 6.6 above, that's the highest we could possibly go and still be in phase 2. And that's at about a 53 range. So we put the 53 range here so you can get a really accurate look at what this looks like. We would need to get above here with support to be out of phase 2 and into phase 3. The only problem with that is phase 2 lasted almost 200 days back here, almost 200 days back here, and we're at about 110 days in. So we're not quite there. It's a little bit early in the game. I know that the market is really, really bullish, but it's just a very interesting time when you look at the facts. It's a little bit early, We haven't retested the structure. If we're going to continue this and break out of this, it will be a short-lived bull run, which nobody wants that. And it would require us reaching an all-time high possibly before the halving, which has never happened before. It's always happened right on schedule in phase 2, and right after we broke out of phase 2, the halving was done and we reached an all-time high. There would be multiple like red flags, kind of warning signs about this new all-time high. We know it's going to happen fast once we break above phase 2, but the key is, when are we going to break above phase 2? Are we going to do it in a completely new way and reach a new all-time high before the halving? It may not be likely given the facts and the charts we have in front of us. If we're judging based on all of the facts that we have in front of us, it feels unlikely we reach a new all-time high before halving. It seems more likely that we reach it after, and it seems very, very likely that we reach it quickly once we break above this phase 2. Generally, it happens between 30 and 80 days. After this break of phase 2, it's between 30 and 80 days to a new all-time high. After this break of phase 2, it was between 30 and 80 days for a new all-time high. And after this break of phase 2, it was between 30 and 80 days new all-time high. These things happen quickly, and this is when the market starts to move. If you look at where we're at in the market, this is the bottom of the market when we're in the anger and depression, when nobody believed us that the bottom was in, that we correctly called the bottom. Then we moved into phase 1. Phase 1 is the disbelief phase, right? We were in that phase for 200 days, when literally every video we made, they're like, I don't believe we're in phase 1. I don't believe that we're in the beginning of a bull run. Obviously, hence the word, it's the disbelief phase. Nobody wants to believe it. Right now, we're in the hope phase. That's phase 2. The hope phase is when people are like, wait a minute, we've been rallying now for a while. Maybe this is a real thing. I'm hoping for the best. That's phase 2. That's what we're in right now. And the phases that come after this are fast, okay? So you've got to be ready for it. These things happen fast. So new all-time high, we'll be keeping you up to date. Hit that subscribe button. I'll see you right back here in the next video. This bull run is our road to 500,000 subscribers, but I need your help. Today, tell one person about our YouTube channel, how we spit facts, go against the herd, take no paid sponsorships of any kind. Road to 500,000, let's go.